Well, hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Laura Shipman Show. I'm your host, Laura. And if you've ever started the week thinking, what on earth am I going to post on social media? This episode is for you. Today, we're talking all about how to build a content calendar you'll actually use, one that keeps you organized, aligns with your goals, and helps you stay consistent. Whether you're new to planning or you've struggled to stick with a system, I've got you covered. Episode 348 starts right now. Well, hey there. Welcome to the Laura Shipman Show. I'm your host, Laura, and I'm here every week to help you create value-driven content quickly and efficiently while focusing on things like digital marketing, social media, productivity, and time management. My goal? To give you the tools to market your business effectively, manage your time, and create real results both in business and beyond. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. Grab a notebook, a pen, and your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get started. Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I am so glad you are here with me today. And I gotta be honest, using content calendars used to confuse the heck out of me way back when I started social media. And I never really used them because the way people were using content calendars just like confused the heck out of me, if I'm really being honest about it. So today I have a format and a plan that I think you're really gonna like, and it's easy to use. And make sure you stick around to the end because I have two things at the end of every podcast. And that is one, I give you a little bit of homework, but it's not bad homework. It's good homework. It actually helps you move that needle forward. And then the other thing is a ChatGPT prompt. We are all about the ChatGPT prompt here because when used properly and correctly, you can really get a ton of good information out of that tool. So don't knock it till you try it. And I've got some good prompts for you at the end. Okay, I hate to sound cliche, but I'm going to start with the why. Like, why the heck do you need a content calendar? I guess it's not the why, but it is a why about using a content calendar. And for me, I believe a content calendar is like a roadmap for your social media because it helps you do four things. It helps you stay consistent. Number two, it helps you align your content with your business goals. So it makes you stay in your lane and that you don't get shiny syndrome, or what is it? Shiny object syndrome along the way. Number three is it saves you time by reducing daily guesswork. Like, imagine trying to come up with content on the fly and you sit there, and then what if you have writer's block that day? You can't come up with a good caption, you don't have a good photo. It wastes a lot of time. When you get your stuff on a calendar, you know what you're doing every day that you're posting, right? And the fourth thing is when you've got a calendar and you've got dates in place and you've got ideas in place, it keeps you accountable. Like, you're going to follow through. Without a plan, it's easy not to follow through. And if you're listening to this podcast, that's not us, right? We want to stay consistent. We want to stay productive. We want to make sure we hit our goals. And so when you have a content calendar, I'm telling you, it is the foundation to getting all of those things done. The key, however, is finding the right system. And once you get that right system down, you're going to feel more organized, your reach is going to improve, your engagement's going to improve, and you're going to create content that is fun and useful for your audience instead of stressful. All right. So let's just get into it. So now that we know the why, I'll, finish my TED talk about the why there. And we're going to start with one of my favorite things to talk about. And if you've been around here for a while, you know, content pillars. And I believe content pillars, good ones, solid ones, are the foundation of your content calendar. And what a content pillar is, basically, they are the main themes that represent your brand and keep your messaging cohesive and on point. So if you're not sure how to come up with content pillars, I'm going to help you with that. We're going to go through this right now. So you have a choice. Either grab a pen and piece of paper or just listen to this and do this later if you need to. But again, content pillars were hard for me to come up with when I first started out. I was very confused by it and I didn't really know how to narrow that in. And people weren't really transparent. people are more transparent now about how they're doing business. But back when I started, not so much. So everything was kind of behind the curtain and you had to kind of guess and work at it. But for me, what I used to do and what really worked for me is ask myself the question, like, what do I want to be known for? And write down as many things as you can think of that really align with your business and your business goals and that people should know you for. So that's your first content pillar. The second one is think about your expertise and what your audience needs. What do they need from you? So, if you're a fitness coach, for example, your pillars might be workouts, nutrition, mindset, and client success stories. So, if you look at the workouts and nutrition and mindset, maybe those are things that you want to be known for. Client success stories, maybe that's something your audience needs to hear. So think about those things as you're working out your content pillars. Now, this third way to come up with a content pillar is kind of a favorite one of mine. And what I want you to do is think about your most favorite client or customer. Who are they? How do you help them? And why are they your favorite? Like, why do you love working for them? So that can help you figure out what those content pillars should look like. Okay, so I am going to share my content pillars with you. And while I'm doing this, what I'd like you to do is grab a piece of paper if you can. If not, come back and do this exercise later and divide your paper into 4 columns or 5 columns. Actually, don't go more than 5. And as I'm telling you my content pillars, you might think about what yours would be. And so each pillar is literally a pillar, right? It's a column on your piece of paper, and you're going to write a concise title at the top of it. So this is what mine would look like. So I have 4 content pillars. So my sheet of paper would be divided into 4 columns. And at the top of each column, will be these titles. The first one is social media management services I provide. And I would just list what all those services are underneath that column. And then I would brainstorm ideas for each of those services. Like, what are those content ideas I could share? My second content pillar is organizing and streamlining social media to make it easier for people, right? So they can stay consistent. My third one is creating content that gets noticed. And my fourth one is productivity hacks. Like, I just love that. And it's just part of me, it's part of my business. So that is a pillar for me. So, like I said just a minute ago, what you're going to do once you've nailed those pillars down, you know what your, 3 to 5 pillars are that really dial in your business. You're going to brainstorm topics for each one in that column. So, for example, under creating content that gets noticed, I might include tips about writing captions, designing graphics, or using trending audio, how to do reels, all of those things. So I'll just go ahead and just really brainstorm every single thing I could write about or tell people about on social media under that topic. So when you go to do this exercise, make the outcome of this exercise a living document. And here's what I mean. Keep your content pillars somewhere handy, somewhere they're easily accessible. It could be a Google Doc, it could be a Google Sheet, a Trello board, a Notion template, even a note on the note taking app in your phone will work. Whatever's easy for you and something that you will be able to get your hands on quickly. And here's why. Because you just never know when that inspiration is going to hit you. And if your content pillars are easily accessible, you can add ideas on the fly under each column that you have as a content pillar. And that way you're like never running out of ideas, and they're also staying current to what's going on in the world. Because that's somehow how I get some of my content ideas is it's not because I had this amazing master plan. It's because I read something or I saw a video or something and I'm like, ooh, that's something that maybe if I put it into the words of social media speak, people will really get a lot of information out of. And I like a digital tool, like pen and paper can work, but I like a digital tool because I always have my phone with me no matter where I am. So I can easily access Google. That's where I keep my stuff is on Google Drive, but it's easily accessible for me, right? I can just pop in there, write my idea down quickly, and then continue doing whatever I was doing. So It's ease of use is really important and something that you can get your hands on quickly. Okay, I think I've beaten that horse to death. Sorry. Okay, so we know how now to create content pillars, but there's one more thing I want to say about this before we move on. If you haven't used content pillars before in the past, chances are you're just talking about anything and everything and hoping that it makes sense and it sticks with your audience and they're going to reach back out to you. That rarely happens, right? Sometimes you might have some luck with that, but when you have an organized plan and it aligns with like the products and services that you're providing in your business, it's going to work so much better for you. Trust me on this one. Okay, the next thing we need to talk about, now that we have our content pillars, we know what we're going to talk about, pretty well. We know what we're going to talk about. We need to plan for promotions and launches. So I don't care what kind of business you have. It could be a service-based business, it could be a physical product business. You have those things that pop up in your business, right? You have special promotions you're going to do, you have launches you're going to do. We need to work that into your content calendar. So, again, your content calendar needs to align with your business goals, especially from a product launch or sales aspect, right? And so, here's how to plan. Get your physical calendar out. Now, this is where I like to use pen and paper because it's easy to move things around when you're working in a content plan or a content calendar, and then you can move it to a digital format. And I actually think you should do that at some point because, again, you want your content plan to be accessible. So, the first thing you're going to do is on your calendar, you're going to mark out key dates, and that includes product launches. It's going to include holidays, anything that you need to recognize during the month, and sales events. Put those concrete things in first, and then we're going to work backward, right? So once you have all those dates down, then you're going to build in content that creates anticipation. So, for example, if you're launching a course, you might share some behind the scenes content, some testimonials, a countdown to leading up to the launch of your new course. So you're building that anticipation in. So you want to plot those out on your calendar leading up to the day that you launch. And then the third type of content that you want to put in there is you just want to mix in regular everyday content. So you don't want to make every post a sales post. You want to balance promotional content with value driven content from your initial content pillars. And most people say it's an 80/20 rule where you're like 20% sales and promotions and then 80% the value stuff, which people really begin to know, like, and trust you through is how you want to make that balance. Okay. So then we talked briefly about I like to work on paper first and then move it to somewhere, where this content calendar is going to live. And like I said before, there is no one size fits all approach, right? I told you my struggles at the beginning. The people I was following and learning from, their system didn't work for me. So you're going to have to find the system that works for you. And here are some tools to consider depending on what your needs are and how you work with your business. So the first one, I think I already mentioned it, was Google Sheets. I mean, this is perfect for if you're just starting out. You can create your own calendar there. You can create columns for the date, the platform you're going to post to, the type of content, the pillar that it's coming from, and the caption. And you could do that. And actually, come to think of it, I use this simplistic format for a lot of my clients because sometimes I like to give them, not sometimes, all the time, I like to give them an overview of what we're going to be talking about for the month. And it's an easy way for them to see, oh, Laura's going to be talking about this, this, and this in our business. And oh, she missed this. So let's make sure that we tell her. So it's just like a great overview of what you're going to talk about for the month. And it's easy, it's shareable. If you have a collaborative team, Google Sheets might be exactly the way you need to go. Okay, the other type of content calendar tools you can use is Trello or Asana. These are great for visual planners. People who like to see things on boards and see tasks organized by, the week or the month. This could be a perfect solution. And Notion's another one. It's highly customizable and people like that, right? So it can be used for both planning and brainstorming all in one place. So here's a pro tip. What I think is the easiest way to go about this is start simple and then upgrade as you need to, right? As your business changes, as you change, the more detailed you want to become, look for solutions that upgrade with that, right? And me, I always love to start free first, you know? So Google Sheets is a great way to start. Okay, now that you have your beautiful content calendar put together, don't stop there. And there are some tips that I can share with you to help you stay consistent and make sure that you use that content calendar consistently. And so the first thing is, I'm going to sound like a broken record, and you guys know I love it, but batching, batch your content. So whether you decide to batch once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, spend some time, an hour or two at first. It depends on what you're batching and what you're creating, how much time you're going to spend, but it really helps you stay consistent and stay on top of your content production and posting. Next thing is set realistic goals. What is absolutely realistic for you to create content and post? Is posting daily realistic for you, or is it overwhelming? And if it's overwhelming, that's okay. Maybe it's just 3 to 4 times a week is what you're going to post. You don't have to post every single day, but you do have to stay consistent. So if you decide to do 3 times a week, then stick to that consistency so that your audience knows when to show up and that you look consistent to the algorithms, because that's important. And then the third thing is just review and adjust. Schedule time to review your analytics, tweak your strategy, and see what's working and what's not working, and just adjust to that. And it's okay to adjust. So for me, I love batching. It's a real lifesaver because I manage multiple accounts, right? If I didn't batch create stuff, I think I'd be pulling out my hair. So it's so much easier for me to dedicate a couple of hours to creating posts than to scramble daily. And it makes me more accurate. It makes my post better. And it also makes my post and my content well thought out. All right. I have a couple bonus tips for you for your winning content calendar. And the first one is to include an engagement plan. What do I mean by that? I want you to make sure that you add some time to your day to respond to comments and to interact with your audience when they interact with your content. And even when they don't, make sure you go and show some love to your audience too on their posts. So make sure you include like 5 or 10 minutes. It's not that much. It doesn't have to be that much time. You're not dedicating hours to this. And then the next thing is repurpose content. Don't reinvent the wheel. I would go and take a look at your insights on a regular basis and see which ones performed really, really well, which posts were your audience's most favorite posts, and turn those posts into a blog, a carousel. If you could turn it into a reel, turn it into a reel. There are lots of ways you can give a high performing post legs. All right. And then the next thing, most of all, is leave room for flexibility. Your calendar is not set in stone. It's a guide, right? It's helping us get to where we want to go. So leave room for things like spontaneity, or if you have to um, weave in some trending topics, leave room for that because you're going to need to do that. Okay, my friends, that's it for this episode. Remember, a content calendar isn't just a planning tool, it's a game changer for your business. By creating a system that works for you, you'll save time, stay consistent, and see better results. But don't go yet, because I promised you 2 things at the beginning of this episode, and that was some weekly homework and a ChatGPT prompt. So, the first thing, your homework for this week is start your content calendar by defining your content pillars and brainstorming 5 to 10 topics for each content pillar. So, remember, I think you should have a minimum of 3 content pillars and a maximum of 5. And what you're going to do is brainstorm topics underneath each content pillar, 5 to 10 of them to start. All right. Are you ready for your ChatGPT prompt? This will be in the show notes in case you can't scribble it down right now, but just hear me out and listen to this and see how you think this will work for you. You are going to tell ChatGPT this: help me create a simple content calendar for my business. So, in this area here, you're going to give context, details, and information about the content pillars you intend to use. Then tell ChatGPT to include columns for date, content pillar, platform, and caption ideas. And you will be amazed at what ChatGPT will build for you. And it'll actually build a table within the chat. So try it out. You may have to, go ahead and play around with the prompt a little bit. But the point is, it's a starting point, and that's where we need to get you to be. All right, my friends, thank you for tuning into the show today. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's ready to get organized. Until next time, my friends, happy content planning. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you found this episode helpful and packed with value. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. And hey, if you know someone who could benefit from today's tips, please share the podcast with them. It's the best way to help others and grow our community. Until next time, keep creating, stay motivated, and I'll see you in the next episode.